I mean, what's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month: how Angel Reese and Asia Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth.
Angel Reese recently discovered that a Nebraska cable access chess tournament attracted more views than her WNBA. To put it mildly, she did not take it well. The ratings appeared like a silent disco on mute while Caitlin Clark was out here shattering TV records like she's the Beyoncé of basketball angels. What took place? Why did all of America switch the channel? Hold on tight, for this isn't just a failure. It's an amazing slow-motion crash that is worthy of popcorn. Let's get started.
You've got a basketball player, you got a celebrity that, or somebody that thinks she's a celebrity, that happens to be a basketball player. All right, but she's not celebrity enough to actually pack in the stands. And guys, there is some ugly numbers.
We must consider a few things before discussing how Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall are lighting it up. Indiana has defeated Chicago 4 times so far this season. Yes, the Fever's record is mostly the result of their constant slapping of this one terrible squad. Indiana's record would appear much more balanced without the Sky. However, you have to play who is in front of you, and Indiana continues to profit. Angel Reese's continued absence due to a back injury is the first of the Sky's issues.
Wait a minute. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA is taking baby steps.
This brings us to the exciting part, the big night for Lexi Hall. It seemed as though she had lost her chance, as if she might simply disappear into the backdrop. Yes, regarding that, she finished with 17 points, 3 steals, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. She also went 4 for 6 from beyond the arc. That's making a statement, not just showing up.
All of you who tell us, oh my God, what a big superstar. Oh my God, transcendent. Oh my goodness, generational. Oh my goodness, so on and so forth. You guys do all the talking, all the yapping. Twitter fingers turn to can't even show up and buy ticket fingers.
And let's face it, Caitlin Clark was on the bench getting excited for Lexi when she made those big shots. That is the manifestation of team chemistry. Natasha Howard performed her duties in silence, contributing 7 points and grabbing 10 rebounds. As usual, Aaliyah Boston was effective, going 7 of 11 from the floor to score 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. She's simply so reliable that people hardly ever bring.
Look, one of the biggest stories to come out of this game is you're playing one of the considered to be top 4 teams in the league, the Minnesota Lynx, and nobody showed up to watch this game. All right? Again, 5 million Instagram followers do not equate to basketball fans.
Kelsey Mitchell comes next. 8 assists and 26 points on 9 of 18 shots. It's a full-length performance. The offense clicked because of the passing, even though the scoring was excellent. It's evident that Mitchell is extremely confident at the moment. Of course, Sophie Cunningham is not to be overlooked. She finished with 16 points after shooting 5 of 10 from the field and 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. She has the kind of all-around game that every coach loves when you combine it with her hustle plays, rebounds, and aggressive defense. And man, you can feel the building's energy change as Sophie's shot is dropping.
So I think it's time to finally, end the argument. You know, end the argument that there is any sort of like other needle mover that is even remotely close to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. And again, the reason why we've got Hailey Van Lith up is because it was Hailey Van Lith's return as well as Angel Reese.
The coolest thing is that these threes were daggers rather than just stats. Whenever Chicago appeared to be regaining ground, Sophie or Lexi would come up and hit a shot that simply destroyed the Sky's momentum. That's how a team is put away. Well, it's just the Sky. I'm aware that some people will reply, it's not a huge deal. Yes, but it's a huge problem. Competitors are not played down by good teams. They take care of business. And that's exactly what Indiana did. Let's broaden our perspective and discuss how this game fits into both clubs' overall plans. In Indiana, according to nights like this, the guards manage tempo, the bigs understand timing, the shooters are in the proper positions, the pieces fit, and the system is robust. You may carry that foundation with you wherever you go. It is a tough film for Chicago. Every quarter, the identity shifts, the effort falters, and the spacing is incorrect. You witnessed it in small acts. Indiana used a simple guard dribble handoff into a ball screen with a pistol set. For consecutive times and
I'll talk a real big game. Y'all talk a real big game. Y'all tell us just how amazing Angel Reese is. Y'all tell us how y'all ride or die with Angel Reese. And you know what? This ain't on Angel Reese. This isn't even about Angel Reese. It's about y'all.
Nevertheless, Indiana managed the pockets calmly. They used timeouts to steal rest, strategically spaced out Mitchell's minutes, and relied on secondary handlers to make the simple pass. Defense definitely influenced the shot diet, so let's speak about it once more. Indiana kept the ball out of the middle, where assistance is more difficult, by executing side pick and rolls. They recovered during the pass's flight after displaying early assistance from the nail. That's how you remove corner threes and encourage mid-range pull-ups. The invitation was accepted by Chicago. Brick, brick, brick. Boston and Howard were the bouncers on the glass. No free admission. Cunningham and Hull were already sinking to tag when a long miss kicked out. The Sky's best route to cheap points was erased by that team's rebounding. The hit-ahead game, which penalized Chicago's sluggish floor balance, was also fueled by it. When the habits are this clean, defense and offense support one another. This can be stated in a stat-head manner. Expected value was gained by Indiana, who also had better rim and three-point shooting, fewer poor mid-range shots, more free throws, and
featured Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Felines against the best AAU team from Brazil. The Roo from Waterloo drew 1.3 million viewers, which was a 13% increase over the WNBA's regular season average on ESPN last year. Viewership also exceeded ratings for Game 1 of the WNBA Finals.
ESPN is having trouble keeping up with Caitlin Clark's own cinematic universe. To deal with the crazy traffic, they had to put up more digital streams. It seems like a Marvel crossover every time Clark moves. The explosion of social media somehow. It's trending when she sneezes to AS Angel Reese makes a layup. Her coach is over there, perhaps thinking about the depths of his own existential crisis, and he forgets to clap. However, please elaborate on how you're altering the game. Angel, we're all listening. Then there is Reese's supporters' illusion. Bless their steadfastly devoted, misguided souls who have made it their goal to place the blame on everyone but reality. They complain that the networks didn't do enough to promote it. Yes, as a professional sports league ought to give a rookie who hasn't played many actual games the red carpet. They whined that the time slot was bad. Due to the fact that a 7 o'clock p.m. game is the primary cause of the end of the ratings, evidently, it had nothing to do with the utter quiet and lack of excitement around the entire performance.
Caitlin Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlin Clark back out on the basketball.
This is an interesting statistic. For an exhibition, Caitlin Clark's game attracted 1.3 million viewers. A tiny town's inhabitants couldn't even be supported by Reese's games. Her ratings would now be surpassed by a live video of a potato rolling down a hill. When minor league curling begins to produce superior results, you know something is wrong. However, what makes it more humorous, the contrast, is even more hilarious. Reese and her team have created a public persona as though she is the lead of an unapproved biopic. She has the glitz, the walk, and the big talk. She enters every arena as if it were the Met Gala. However, no one arrived to view the film when the lights were turned on and the cameras started rolling. It's still karaoke night at a sad bar if you're playing in front of an empty room, no matter how fancy you want to make it. In comparison, Caitlin Clark might host a photo shoot in a barn and still have admirers droning and perhaps a few bewildered deer interested only in her photo. The fever created a cultural moment in addition to breaking ratings. She is spearheading a movement in addition to playing. Ree believed she deserved this type of fame without having to put in the necessary work.
But you guys did not see right here. The Fever Brazil game came to 1.3 million viewers. 1.3 million viewers to an exhibition game. Not even a preseason game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. They came to an exhibition game. Or say they came to watch an exhibition game. That was a 60-point game, and Caitlin Clark checked out at the end of the third quarter. And it averaged 1.3 million viewers, which is absolutely crazy.
NBA Finals. I'm not saying this to crap on anything else, because I think the WNBA Finals numbers were very good last year, and they got better as they went along. It's just more about how impressive it is that a preseason game in any sport, right? Forget Caitlin Clark for a second. Forget any of those things. That a preseason game in any sport could outrate any game of the finals championship series. And the context on the NBA preseason games, the last NBA preseason games to do so, both to outrate that game, both involved LeBron James, and one was his first game with the Lakers. The other one, the one in 2017 there, as you can see from this Rebecca Lobo tweet, barely outrated this. And there's the graphic from ESPN as they share it. Average of 1.3 million viewers, a peak of 1.6 million viewers. That's up 13% from the regular season last year.
Oh, the Shadow Reese's response to everything was neither a quiet moment of introspection nor a polite retreat for some much-needed contemplation. No, it was the traditional deflection tactic of using schedule conflicts as a full-fledged justification. Inadequate broadcasters, the climate, Mercury, and retrograde, everything except the product itself. Please don't let the basketball be the problem. However, let's take a moment to be realistic. It is not the media's responsibility if you have built your entire brand on excitement and no one attends the party you promised them. You are the one who raised the stakes and, shockingly, failed to live up to them. This was an opportunity for her to grow. She could have pressed the reset button, looked at it, and said, "Okay, time to get back to work and make this right." However, she decided to double down and spin everything instead, choosing pandemonium, because you begin to interpret every critique as a personal assault or, worse, a massive plot against you when you confuse attention for true admiration. This gives the main character vitality without any real.
LSU, Angel Reese, and all of those bums can't dish up a couple dollars to watch Angel Reese play, and it's pathetic because Angel Reese had a damn good game. Showed off her new Reebok shoes, looking pretty good. Picked up right where she left off, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 4 for 7. The double-double is back. The double-double is back. Angel Reese is back. Chicago Sky is back. Tyler Marsh. The ball movement in the Chicago Sky, night and day compared to last year. There's no pound from Courtney. From Vandersloot to Nurse to Reese to Cardoso to Atkins. It's to Onyenwere to Williams. The ball was moving. The ball wasn't sticking in one place. Chicago Sky looked pretty good. I'm not going to.
Not to mention that Reese's own camp hyped up her preseason to the moon. She appeared in dramatic press images and teaser trailers, and people were tweeting about her as if she were Diana Taurasi's second coming. Before she even dribbled the ball, they essentially printed her visage on t-shirts. Every news organization was anticipating this historic event in basketball history with bated breath. The actual outcome was fewer viewers than the majority of unboxing videos on YouTube. Yes, it's that horrible. Compared to those who tune in to check if a new iPhone comes in any slightly different colors, we're talking about fewer people watching. And that's before we take into consideration those who unintentionally tuned in believing it to be something else, like a fresh season of The Bachelor or a rerun of The Office. Can you imagine the poor people who entered the broadcast expecting to witness the greatest sporting event of their lives only to be met with a lackluster game that gave the impression that the Sandlot was the scene of an actual NBA Finals match? It's similar to placing all of your chips on a poker hand and then realizing that you're truly playing.
LSU did not show her any love, and now her own city doesn't. Her own city in her own building doesn't show her love. I have said it time and time again. Preseason games don't mean dick. I don't care about them. But you want to know why people talk about it so damn much? People talk about it because y'all constantly want to remind everybody that folks are watching her games too. She is the one that said, people are watching the game because of me too. Well, that's not wholly accurate. It's just not accurate.
Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, is over there drinking Gatorade and creating history informally, like if it were unimportant. She doesn't have to yell that she's the moment. She is the current people actually come to see her, not just because she says it. While some may argue that it is unfair to compare the two, let's face it, Reese herself started this comparison parade. The Indiana Fever Games now resemble Coachella, with fans yelling their heads off. Reese's games, on the other hand, resemble community college gym classes with all the excitement of a calm Tuesday morning. She gave it food and care before positioning herself as Caitlin Clark's adversary. This drama's alleged second act is actually a plot twist. According to the ratings, it seems more like a one-woman show with Caitlin Clark as the main character and Angel Ree as a supporting character. Unfortunately for Ree, the statistics show that no one is paying attention to the supporting role. Declaring yourself a rival when the scoreboard and the supporters have other ideas is not appropriate. I apologize, but Ree and reality are the only rivals here.
Caitlin Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlin Clark back out on the basketball floor, and we all had our reactions. I mean, she had that iconic moment, really, in a sense, for an exhibition, for a preseason moment, a legendary.
Ree has talent, but you can't Instagram your way into sports history. It requires evidence from the eyes and numbers. Additionally, Ree now has a TikTok filter's statistical footprint. Stylish, but disappearing as soon as the battery runs out, the statistics likely made even the WNBA cringe. When the next great thing doesn't even register on the radar, it's difficult to market. It's similar to marketing a huge film that fails on its first weekend and then pointing the finger at the popcorn. Indeed, there was a lot of excitement, with big personalities and even more expectations. However, where's the content? The statistics simply aren't reliable. The saddest aspect is that the spiral has only just started, because the story is now established, and it's a difficult one. Reese didn't go down in silence. She let out a loud flop. She was unable to even occupy the throne room after announcing herself as the queen of the court. These days, every game has baggage. The echoes of each airball get louder. Every missed layup becomes a meme. A new hashtag that makes you cringe is a viral moment. Her self-propelled media machine is now consuming itself, and it is impossible to unfollow the scoreboard. The internet won't forget, and numbers don't lie.
I've seen all kinds of comments in my live. I've seen comments on my videos from Angel Reese fans. And hey, you know what? I appreciate y'all comments. But I'm sure I'm going to hear all kinds of comments now, and I'm fine with it. Bring them on. Defend your stance. Defend what you stand on. Because they could not give tickets away to the Chicago Sky Minnesota Lynx game yesterday. Couldn't give them away. People didn't watch her game versus Brazil. LSU fans didn't show up for her, and I got 1,000 reasons about baseball. But let's talk about it real fast. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of
Caitlin Clark is acting like a celebrity. Arenas are packed with triumphant spectators, making basketball the main event rather than drama. IT serves as a seminar on how to get up without creating noise for the sake of doing so. Just numbers that demonstrate performance excellence, no gimmicks or mysterious social media outbursts. Reese is discovering the hard way that a lot of hoopla without any real substance is like cake frosting. A moment of sweetness that rapidly turns to sorrow. What will happen next for the self-styled hoops royalty? A reality check. Hopefully, because she will be remembered as the only WNBA player whose social media engagement exceeded that of her whole professional debut, if the trend continues. Given that the only thing Angel Reese is currently shattering is her network confidence, perhaps it's time for her to quit attempting to be a brand and instead concentrate on becoming a baller in a world full of Caitlin Clarks.